What's going on, y'all? Mitch here from the OmniBuddy channel, and today we are doing an overview. What are we looking at? We are looking at one of the latest books from Image Comics. Well, it's been out for a little bit, but great book from Image Comics, The Good Asian. All right, so this comes to us published from Image Comics. It's directed, as it says directed, not written, by Pishishat and Tafingi. So I hope I'm saying their names right. I am really bad at pronouncing names, but you know what? It's freaking awesome. Let's check out why. So here is The Good Asian by Pishati and Tafingi. I hope I'm saying your names right. Apologize if I'm not, but I'm terrible with names. Anyways, so here is The Good Asian. This is published by Image Comics, obviously an Eisner Award winner. It has so here's the cover. It's got this great foil cover, like embossing on it. Super cool. So it looks like this old kind of noir movie poster. Kind of, some people complained when they first got this book that it had like water damage or something like that, but it's actually the like movie poster treatment looking on there. So it's got a great introduction in it by David Cho. And here is the spine, which has that same foil gold on the logo and the 1936. And then it's just, the whole thing's gloss, which is kind of cool. And then the back cover is here. It's got the same kind of, my copy's a little bit scuffed up around the edges, so most probably won't have this, but yeah. So this does retail for $39.99 USD, and it's got a whole bunch of stuff on the back about the, from people praising it and all of that. But this is, following a haunted, self-loathing Chinese-American detective on the trail of a killer in 1936 San Francisco. The Good Asian is a Chinatown noir starring the first generation of Americans to come of age under an immigration ban. The Chinese, as they're besieged by rampant murders, abusive police, and the world that seemingly never changes. And I think it's very apropos because there was a lot of anti-Asian sentiments, Chinese anti-sentiments with the pandemic and all that. So I think this is actually very apropos a study of racism, especially against Chinese Americans. And this is the first generation of Chinese Americans, and this is what it's talking about. So the whole thing is very much imbued with the historical context of all that racism in there, and all surrounded by this noir mystery. Let's see, featured on 20 plus bests of the New Year's lists, all the intros, and then you have this introduction by David Cho, who starts off pretty aggressive. I'm not going to read it because I don't want to say that, especially on camera. But he talks about, picking it up, being like, what in the world is this? And then just becoming enthralled with it. So this jumps right into it. In 1936, you are following a detective, one of the first Chinese detectives in the country, and especially in San Francisco in 36. And it jumps right into the whole noir mystery and what's going on, and kind of a little bit of his backstory in him coming to America and being stuck there, and his dealing with other Chinese Americans and immigrants trying to immigrate to America and what they are all going through. And it then quickly jumps into that, he might be a detective and, has made it, but he's not just made it. He has to deal with a lot of things and really walk that fine line between being a detective and on the police side of things versus being a Chinese American and dealing with the racism that comes with that and the distrust of his own people and the distrust of his colleagues in the precinct as a detective and Chinese American. So it gets really interesting, and there is a lot of interplay in family dynamics and like adoption and interracial kind of Romeo and Juliet love and fatherhood and parenthood and what all entails with when you are sort of a brother, sister to a sort of adopted, sort of adopted, not fully adopted Chinese American, and then what that's like growing up and around a rich American family in San Francisco, and then slowly becoming a detective, and then having to solve some pretty grisly murders, as you can see. Sorry for how grotesque this is, but hold it up so you can kind of see. But they come across some murders, and they start to unravel a mystery of a murderer in San Francisco who is not just murdering Chinese citizens, but Chinese American citizens, but also white American citizens too, and what that all can cause in problems in Chinatown when white cops start coming into Chinatown accusing Chinese Americans of killing white people, and then Chinese Americans being afraid of their own people because their own people are being killed, and then being scared of the police. And man, it just gets dynamic and really deep. I absolutely need to reread this book. I'm not going to go too much into the mystery. I do want to reread it because some of it, a little bit actually went over my head, because if you're not paying attention to little things in this book, it definitely has that where if you are not paying attention to every little detail, stuff can go over your head and stuff can get lost on you, because it is a mystery and it does take itself seriously as a mystery within all of that historical context that I was talking so in depth about. But man, I gotta say, the story, the characters, the dialogue, all of it is just absolutely fantastic. I so much love this. I love a good noir mystery and story. And, I love when they're, detectives are chasing the bad guys and it's rainy and moody. And then when you just have such good, dynamic, deep characters with interesting mystery that they are dealing with, oh man, it gets so, so, so good. And actually, rarely does this happen, but a twist in the mystery at the end that I don't see coming, love it. Love when that happens, and that's what happened here. My wife hates watching movies and shows with me because I can call out things at the very beginning of the show or movie, and I know exactly what's going to happen, and I'm told to just not talk because I ruin it. I ruin the mystery for people. But this one had a great twist at the end that I personally did not see coming, and absolutely loved it. So the art in this, as you can see as I've been flipping through, is just wonderful. Like, it fits the noir story. The color on it is just so fitting when it has flashbacks, and when you have these mood lighting, definitely has some very cool shadow play with, it's not just always blue and black or black and white or gray tones or anything like that, but they play with shadows and different, green sick tones, yellow, it just jumps all over the place in the color palette, but you're never really left jolted and like, whoa, where did that come from? It all fits so well. The paneling, the structure of the pages, they flow super well. I didn't notice anything too fancy with page structures. You do have, or panel structures and layouts, you do have some of these big splash page panels that read through, and because it is a nice sewn binding on here, you get a nice eye hole after, like I've stretched the spine I think once and read it once, and you got a beautiful eye hole that the whole binding of the book lays really nice and flat, so you don't get much gutter loss, if any at all. You can see like bam, the M's a little bit gone in there, but not too bad. But these big splash page, panels going across the whole thing, really cool, really well done. Absolutely loved it. And then I gotta say the paper is really nice too, really good quality. Got a bit of the semi-gloss on there, not too thin and not overly thick either. Really nice. I mean, this classic Image book binds and paper quality and print quality. So Image really knocks it out of the park with these print quality books. So yeah, the art is great. I loved all the characters, how they were drawn. I was never pulled out of exactly or any of the story when by any of the facial features or anything like that. Super cool stuff. Really great action and mystery in it, like I said before. And then I do love how they do have the nice issue covers here too. Those are super nice. Here, I'll skip past the end because we don't need to see that stuff because we don't want to give things away. Fin. End. So then it goes into a lot of historical context and notes, which is super nice. I absolutely love that they took their time to put this and then include this in the book. I want to read this more in depth, but just looking at the different camps and the places where they were put and the immigration history timeline, really nice stuff. I really loved the inclusion of chop suey in this book and what chop suey represents in this book and what it represents to Chinese Americans, the Chinese people, the American people. I will just say that. I'm not going to say too much more about it. I love that ending with talking about it and giving that context to it because it just so well wrapped up this book and the history and the just what they all went through and what they all dealt with. Some really great reference material in here. And then I love when they include the proposal for the stories where they go through and give overviews and concept, log lines, like all the stuff's right in here so you can see how cool books like this are actually pitched and made. I remember I talked about this in Wonder Woman Historia, the Amazon's hardcover. If you want to go watch that one, that book's fantastic too. But there's also the pitch in there by Kelly Sue DeConnick. Super cool to read and super cool to see. And then we have the process work here too at the end. So some really incredible, really good, really nice extras included in here, and then biographies of the creators in there. And that's it. My only complaint is no fancy end sheet paper, but you know what? I will let that slide because this book was absolutely more than good. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so that was a quick overview of The Good Asian. Like I said, the story is super cool. There is actual mystery in it. So many books are, they tout being a mystery and, stringing you along, and the whole time you can really guess what's going to happen at the end. And rarely am I actually surprised by a mysterious twist ending, but this book actually had a really good ending that took me a little bit by surprise in exactly how the mystery actually unfolds and takes place and what actually happened. Super interesting in with the whole mystery and all of that. But what's more interesting is just the lens of looking at like Chinatown in California and all across the country in 1936 life, because it's it focuses a ton on that and just how they deal with life in that era, in the racism and the wars, and just police brutality and all that crazy stuff. It's super interesting to see that lens from definitely a different perspective, and I really appreciated this book just for that, let alone the art was fantastic, the story was great, it was like the dialogue was amazing, just everything about it was a really good, really solid read. Highly recommend it. If you want to pick it up, you can hit up Organic Price Books, use code OmniBuddy for $2 off every order. If you're ordering 3 or more books, you could use OmniBuddy Ship It Together, all one word, for 5% off every order. But you're not going to find better shipping, communication, and some of the absolute best prices on the interwebs at Organic Price Books. So hit them up. But that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, do all those things. But the most important thing to do is comment. Let me know in the comments what your favorite graphic novel mystery is. What's the one that really got you and took you by surprise, that you had no idea how it was going to end, and then it hit you over the head with exactly the craziest ending you've seen? Let me know in the comments. All right, that's it. Take care. Stay cool.